الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. So we had touched upon a subject in the last session. So before we get on to the exercise, this is a topic I wanted to discuss a bit more. So we had looked at the types of wealth. We had seen that there are, first and foremost, we had what we call growing wealth. And growing, as we had discussed, there is the one which is legally growing, and then we had that wealth which is actually growing, increasing, however you want to call it. Then we had things which are considered basic necessities. All right. So now in terms of basic necessities, we had a list of what is considered basic necessity. So a person's, residence, the house of his resident, his transport, and so on, tools for earning his livelihood. And so on. So these are the two types of wealth which we have seen already. 1 and 2. Now there exists a third type of wealth, and that is wealth which is not growing, but it is not from his basic necessities either. So it's not growing and it's not his basic necessity. So these would be like luxury items. Or it would be like, another example is things which are normally items of basic necessity, which are over and above his needs. So we look at this because there is, a person, in order to give zakat, he has his first class of wealth must be greater than nisab. And we'll look exactly at the details of nisab in the coming sessions, but nisab, as we have mentioned already, that is the minimal amount before, under which a person does not have to give zakat. But so he doesn't have to give zakat if he doesn't possess nisab. But then there are details with him being able to receive nisab. So if someone has greater than nisab, he must give zakat. And that's looking at all the 5 prerequisites with respect to wealth, which we talked about. So again, there were 4 prerequisites with respect to the person. He must be MBA-F, Muslim, Baligh, Aqil, and he must be free. Now with respect to wealth, there were 5 prerequisites, and we're going to just slightly touch upon different story, the different examples here. So a person actually, when we before a person gives zakat, he has to see if his wealth, we see if 1 minus 2, so type 1, what type of wealth 1 minus type of wealth 2, if his growing wealth minus his basic necessities that he has, if this is greater than nisab, then he will have to give zakat. On all of his wealth, all of his zakatable assets. Now the question arises, who can receive zakat? There's details. And it doesn't just, some people think that if it's 1 minus 2 is less than nisab, then the question they think is, can he receive zakat? Wow. Well, you can understand that my mom was a doctor, so I have the right to make some really ugly writing. All right. Receive zakat. But the answer is no. That is incorrect. That is not sufficient to say that just because you do not have, just because you do not have nisab, then you'll be eligible to receive zakat. That is incorrect. So we'll use this highly colorful pen to highlight, no, it is not the right answer. There are details. Actually, we'll see that if a person, he has zakatable assets 1, and we deduct for calculation purposes, we deduct his basic necessities to see. This is for determination. This is not for calculating how much zakat is to be given. And then we deduct, then we see what is the, we compare it. And to this, we will add type 3, that his non-zakatable assets. Now we're going to look at all his luxury items. We're going to look at his extra TVs, his extra cars, his things which are over and above his needs. We're going to look at what is over and above his needs. Is all of this greater than nisab? If it is greater than nisab, then he is not eligible. He is not eligible to receive zakat. On the other hand, so let's highlight this. He is not eligible to receive zakat. But if a person, we do all this, and we see that all his possessions, whether it be his zakatable assets and his non-zakatable assets, but which are over and above his needs. If those are less than nisab, now this person is, he is available, he is eligible to receive zakat. So this was a brief look at the three types of wealth. One are zakatable assets, which is the growing wealth. We had the things of his basic necessities, which are not zakatable, and they are not taken into consideration when seeing if he is eligible to receive zakat, or it's not being held against him, the liability, the possession of which is not being held against him. And then you have the third type, which is his luxury items, so to speak. Items or things over his basic needs. This will be used to determine whether he is eligible to receive zakat or no. So this is non-growing wealth. So, inshallah, with this brief introduction on the types of wealth, now we will be in a position to move forward and to get a better understanding when we look at the examples of the calculation. So inshallah, until next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.